Hey, everybody, how are we doing? It is afternoon office hours. What is the topic of the day? What do we have? Who is here? I keep moving the camera over, and every time I turn the camera on, I move it. Every time. Every time. Who is here, and what questions are there? Yep. Hey, what's up, Connor? Good to see you. Good to see you, Connor. We gave some shout outs to Elon Musk. We're on TikTok now. Uh, so we're trying to get Elon Musk to swing by the class. He has a 30-second invite for our class. So and we're here to handle. You know what we did. We know what we did. Connor, check this out. I'll show you something we did. We'll go back to main real topics now. But we did shout out Elon Musk. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what the world does with that. Let's go over here. Check this. Check this out, Connor. What do you notice about this right here about my boosted trees? Now, I know I'm not using validation on this. I'm going to try this weekend to do it in R, but take a look at this boosted tree for predicting somebody's score on the Stat 201 exam. This boosted tree right here for predicting someone's score on the Stat 201 exam. This, as we figured out last class or last time you heard, is the RMSE, which is the root mean square error. So this model typically misses its prediction for what somebody will score on the exam by about 5.5 points. Not that bad. If I say you're going to get a 90, we're up by about 5 points usually. I mean, you might make an 84, 86, 87, 95, 94. Yeah, which one? What are you wondering, Carly? Feel free to ask. We'll do some visualization 6, you bet, because this is boosted trees right here. And we explain 75% of the variation. Yeah, next week's exam, you bet. Carly, ask away, and Snea, ask away. Ask away. We're going to send out an announcement here probably tonight or tomorrow about the exam, just making sure everyone knows. Learning rate could go down. Ooh, slower learning rate. Slower learning rate. Let's do this real quick. We have a suggestion from Connor right here saying lower that or learning rate down. Let's zoom out. Connor wants the shrinkage to be smaller, which is the learning rate. I think I still have all the data in here. Let's lower that learning rate down. Here's the. Sorry, I just ate some Triscuits. I'm not sick, I swear. I just ate some Triscuits, and they're making me cough. Eating my lunch, eating some Triscuits. Sorry, I cough. I don't know. I'm online. Everyone's watching me. Let's see what happens here, Connor. Oh, Connor, look at this. Look at that. That maybe that changed. No, Connor, the learning rate. Look at that. Maybe we need more trees now, right, Connor? With the slower learning rate, we need more trees, and then we'll head over to the questions. Triscuits are the bomb. We couldn't get the smoked Gouda, which are awesome. Oh, we should maybe, it lets you do a validation portion. Let's do 3,000 trees and the learning rate. I think the trees, because we slowed the learning rate. It's turning away. There's a model right there. 68.7%. RMSE is looking better. Much more trees. Yeah, slower learning rate. We need more trees. So, and these are the kind of things that, this is why we don't just, like, Connor and I both were like, oh, since we're learning slower, we'll need more trees. Those are the things we're looking at. Here, we'll do this really quick, then we'll hop over the questions. My data looks a lot different than yours. Yeah, what does your data look like? Here, we'll take a look, Carly. How does it look? Very, very different. I'm going to save this. We're going to save the predicteds. Take a quick look at that. Where did those save to? Nope. Which sheet is this in? Good, it's this sheet right here. We just saved the predicteds right here. Here's the predicted grades people were predicted to get. So let's sort here descending. And these are the people who were predicted to have the highest grades. These are the people who are predicted to have the lowest grades. We did another model right here, but this person right here, you can look at the structure of what they're doing, and you can kind of understand the differences. And we see differences between other models I've made. But generally, this person right here is very distracted. They don't take notes while watching class. But if you go up here to the top people, the people predicted to make the highest grades by VR model, you're going to see very different structures in what they're doing. Like these people are taking notes. Well, look at all these always is right here. But yep. And look at the very attentives. Use quantitative data in the assignment. It said use categorical. Are you in? Okay, good question right here. Use quantitative data, and in the assignment, it said to use categorical data. So the data is very long. It shows lots of majors. Yes. So Carly, the big thing we're going to do, let me switch to that data. Let me go to that data set you're using. The first thing we want to do is when we pull this data up, we want to remove what? What do we want to first do when we get our data going right here? Oh, that's awesome, Connor. Yeah, Connor, that'd be great. You have the deep knowledge and understanding. Connor, I think we can definitely talk more on this. You have the deep knowledge and understanding. I think graduate degrees are great, and I'll recommend you. You know that. So what kind of variables are we going to remove from decision trees, Carly? Identifiers, exactly. So here's an identifier. We're going to delete this one. And then what else are we also going to move? What else are we also going to remove? Remove identifiers or what? Remove identifiers or things that what? Remove identifiers or things. I'll bring up the notes right here. We remove identifiers or things what? We remove identifiers or things that what? And then Snail will do some things that act like identifiers. So when would something act like an identifier? So it says on here, like, so use your own words, and like the more you can think about it, the more you can like describe it. When do things act like identifiers? Like what kind of variables, here's a hint for that. What kind of variables act like identifiers? Like these variables. Yep, we're doing some visualization 6. Feel free, and Campbell, I was just mentioning our Elon Musk craziness. Feel free to drop the TikTok in the chat if you want. So I don't know. We'll just see what happens. I saw the numbers. It's up to like 20 or 30. And so I don't know if that's good numbers for TikTok. I don't know. Maybe we're like, oh man, this is like a big TikTok for me. Like I have no idea how things work on TikTok. Is it good that is it good that a manufacturer sold under the name of a specific? Oh, I was like, yeah, I was really confused on that, Campbell. I was like, I do not understand. I think you're copy pasting the TikTok in the end. So with this right here, we want to remove things, categoricals with lots of levels. Categorical variables with lots of levels. And that's our Elon Musk shout out right there. Shout outs to Elon Musk. So does everyone notice here major has a lot of levels? Does that make sense that major, this variable right here? Oh, so we're going to definitely remove major. And so what variables over here on the side are categorical? Can you tell like over here what variables are categorical? Like what variables right over here are categorical? Like what indicates to you that something is categorical versus quantitative? Like when you look at this screen right here, how would you know that something is categorical versus quantitative? Because we're not going to worry about the quantitative ones. Those are fine. The red, exactly. And so Campbell, great job right there. Q44 needs to be removed. If you look at all the levels right here, it's a ridiculous variable. Discord made the... Oh, Discord did make the list. Discord made the list. Where's Discord on here? Where is it? Where is it? Somewhere on here, I'm sure. I don't see it. And it's gone. It's gone. So, this is new data. Oh, so does that make sense what I've done here, Campbell? And everybody in Carly. Sorry, it was Carly who asked originally. Does this make sense? And thanks for hosting that, Campbell. Hopefully you have some fun with that. It was in the column. Oh, I didn't see it. Let's bring it back. Hey, what's up, Discord? Bye-bye, Discord. You're gone. So I'm deleting these. I'm getting rid of these. Does that make sense, Carly? What we're doing here to get rid of variables that are either one, let's review again. These variables that we are removing here are either identifier variables that was 0, 1. Okay, so yes. So now that we removed the identifiers or things that act like identifiers. Now we can go here and make our decision tree. To make the decision tree, we're going to go to the following. So take a look at the screen right here. You know, I'm going to zoom in today. I haven't been zooming in on this lately. Let's go to zoom in. We need to go to analyze, predictive modeling, and partition. So here's where you go to make your decision tree. Once you go here to this platform, we got to zoom back out now. I'll reappear. So what we have here on this platform is we're going to take every single variable. I am hitting Control or Command A. Q18. So why would we not remove Q18? And actually, we can't tell if you removed Q18, but you don't want to remove Q18. Why would we not remove Q18? And I'll let you see. Look at the difference between Q18 and Q19. Yeah, that's the easiest way is to remove them beforehand. That makes life way easier. And great question, Campbell. Let's throw some 50 points to the chat. You guys know. More points, more positivity, more energy, energy, energy. Why are we not going to remove Q18? So look at our criteria for removing things. So Q18, look at Q18 right here. And then think about our criteria for removing things. Is Q18 the response? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, you are correct. Oh, great. You're saying we're gonna predict Q18. So there's another way of doing it. One way is to select everything, and then if you hold Control, you can actually deselect Q18. So I'm holding Control right now. I think it might be Command on a Mac. if you if you hold Control or Command, you can click it and that'll deselect it. So actually, Campbell, you are correct. That will not go into the X's. You're 100% right. I'm going to take and drag these over to the X's. I'm doing it a little bit different today. And now I'm going to select this one right here and drag this over to the Y. You don't want to include the X down here or the Y variable down here. If you notice Q18 is missing. There's a lot of ways to drag them over, but that's just one of the quickest ways. To review that way of doing it, again, this is probably the way I usually do it. It's a little more complicated. Done this a few times, so I'm going to show a different way of doing it. I'm going to hit Control or Command A, select all the data. All the data has been selected now. I'm going to hold Control or Command and click the variable I don't want to drag over. So now that variable has been deselected by holding Control or Command. Drag all of these over here to the X. All the X's go over there. Click this one time. Click and release. And then I'm going to drag this up here to the Y variable. But what about auto-regressive models? Yeah. Well, oh yeah, we could. Well, but this is not time series data. There you go. Connor knows what I'm talking about some auto-regressive models, some ARIMA models, or ARMA models, ARMA or ARIMA models. It's not time series. Oh, shoot. Well, this is what you'll get. I usually don't do the one everyone does. Yours will look like this. If you do that, that'll look good. I'm gonna predict people's age. So yours will look like that. Mine's gonna look like this. So with this right here, see, kind of these are such good questions. Like, why would we not use an auto-regressive model here? It's not a time series. No, like that's the things, as you know, more and more stats, that's the things people should be able to be like, well, that wouldn't really apply because this is not time series. We need time order data to do an auto-regressive model. Making me feel smart, Connor. I appreciate that. I don't care. 50 points. Connor made Brian feel smart. And Connor feels smart too, I hope. Connor, I'd be honored if we're going to split 3 times. This makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. This tree explains the obvious. I want us to think about, we have 4 groups right here. So let's go right here to the leaf report, which shows us the groups. There's too much on the screen. The categories are too long. Okay. These categories are ridiculously long. I just want to point out here that this is group 1 right here. Group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. Group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. I want us to look. Oh, no, that's all right, Snea. We'll practice. Just keep asking those questions. Snea, which questions do you have about the test next week? And Connor's great resource. Connor loves to help out. He took 201, 320, 474, all at UT, 475. So, yeah, it is. It's like that's why we need these analytic skills to explain things. The leaves will be different for everybody. Yep. Everyone's going to get different leaves via different random samples. Make sure you took your random sample. I did not take a random sample. So let's think about these people right over here. I want us to look at the youngest people. Let's look at the youngest people. The youngest people were on average 18.9 years old. I want you to tell me the 2 things about the youngest people on campus. The youngest people on campus. Tell me about the youngest people on campus right here. Or the youngest, that's an answer to the question. Tell me about the youngest people. Tell me about the youngest people. Who knows anything about the youngest people right here? So tell me about the youngest people. Yep, the review quiz. Yep, great question, Snare, right there. 100% like the review quiz. It's going to be really similar. I would make sure I could ace things like the review quiz. The exams posted on Canvas are good advice. I'm not saying they're like, I'll show, because I was like, good advice. But the review quiz is literally what the exam is going to be like. And then make sure, like we talked about interpretations, make sure you have good interpretations written down on your cheat sheet for interpreting R squared, RMSE, intercept, slope, and that's probably the main ones. R squared, RMSE, intercept, and slope. Make sure you have interpretations for all 4 of those that you're comfortable with. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much. I'm glad to relieve your stress. And so the question right now, Campbell, the question for 201 is, you're right, Connor, they are going to have GPA. So let me read the question here. Explain the characteristics of the people who are the youngest. This mean right here is the mean for the youngest group. And so this mean right here is 18.9 for these 464 people, 19.5 for these 226, 20 years old on the dot for the mean of these 1,196 people. And these are the oldest people right here with a mean of 24. Remember, we're trying to explain the age of people, making it the Y variable, and the X variables are all the other variables. If you look at the platform right here as we entered in the variables, you can see that the X variables, these are the explanatory variables, are going to try to explain age. So they have a GPA of 3.75 or higher. So their GPA is 3.75 or higher, and also one other characteristic about them. One other characteristic about these individuals as you follow the tree down. It is also shown in this leaf report here. If you read this, this is the first leaf. And there they are. This is leaf 2, leaf 2, leaf 3, leaf 3, leaf 4, leaf 4. One other characteristic about these individuals, they do have GPAs greater than 3.75. He might have retired again. He retires every other year. I love Dr. Seaver. Gosh. What does that mean? I'll retire in like 25 years? Let me think. Nah, that means I'll retire in 30 years. No! I didn't snap low enough. Oh, I snapped late. Back again. So what other characteristics? Yes, you're supposed to have Q18. That's exactly right. I don't do the tree, so that way my tree's different, and I do a different Y variable. Does this make sense, Campbell? Yours will be Q18. Remember, Connor, we're going to be talking about that. You do not have to help me. Like, I don't want to be like, Connor, you're on the hook. You're always free to help me with talking over time series and what should be in the course. I'm also going to talk to Nick probably. Nick definitely wants us to go over to Python. He's like, Python. Which Python's excellent. Nothing against Python. Exactly. Clarissa, great job right there. Clarissa, you're 100% right. Everyone's going to get different splits. So everyone's going to have different trees due to different randomness, due to your random samples. Make sure you took a random sample. Thank you so much, Connor, for your help on that. I agree. Python's all right. It's all about just being good. It's like, imagine someone said to you, what's better, like McDonald's or Burger King? You'd be like, well, it depends on what you get. Like the salads at McDonald's are not the best. I mean, maybe you want to get like the McFlurry, that's really good. Or you go to Burger King, you want to get like the Baconator. It all depends on what you want. It's like, what are you going to use it for? So what's better, Python or R? Well, what are you using it for, and how skilled are you? Which one did you go to? No, Campbell, let's throw some 50 points. Campbell, don't worry. We're throwing 50 points. We're here with the positivity. Make sure you have your random sample. And what do you think? We need one other characteristic about these youngest people. Make sure to, here, I want to point this out. I'm going to take a screenshot and I'm going to draw on it. So with this right here, let's take a screenshot of just this portion of the tree. You make sure you have a good, clean screenshot of your tree. Let's bring it over to Word. Let's talk about it. We drew a tree out here. Okay, so let's go look at the youngest people. The youngest people here. This is the mean of this group. These are the means of all the groups. That means this is the Y variable. This is their age, predicted age. This is the Y variable. Let's highlight in another color. These are the X variables that lead down to it. So everything I'm putting right here are X. Oh, why do you change colors? These are all X variables right here. So these are all X variables. We'll do space pen, Elon Musk, space pen. These are all X variables right here. I do not understand things. So exactly, because that's the mean of that group. Because this is the Y variable right here. This variable right here is the Y variable of interest. Does that make sense? So this is the Y variable. And now tell me about the X variables that led down to this group having an 18.9. Is that making sense? There are 464 people in this group, and this is the mean of the group. And so tell me about the X characteristics that led down to them. There's also, this is an X thing over here. That's the X's, like that's the X variables for this. Tell me about, as we just kind of like hopefully make more sense of this output, these are X characteristics right here. These are X variables that are like explaining the groups. These are the X variables. Explain to me the characteristics of those individuals. You can still see it just barely on the top of the screen right there. So those are all X's. Exactly. Does that make sense to you? These are the youngest people, are people who live on campus and have high GPAs. Does that make sense? That is 100% right, Campbell. Great job. You got this. You got this. You just follow it down like it's a choose your own adventure, and you just say we go here, then we go here. Does that make sense? Now let's follow the path. And we could just say these people live on campus and these people live off campus. Like you either live on or off campus. It's a lot to say. If the grader counts off because maybe you get something like this, just tell me if you think you should get the points back, because I would accept, instead of saying, these are people who live a walking distance, under 10-minute drive, 10 to 30-minute drive, or 30-plus-minute drive, because either you live on or you don't live on campus, which means off campus. So these are your on-campus people. These are your off-campus people. And then what do you notice about the oldest people? Let's follow the path down again. I think we're still on the red pen, even though it says green. What do you notice here as we follow down in this choose your own adventure format? The oldest people right here are people who live off campus. All those categories up there are off campus. And they also what? Which kind of makes sense that they're the oldest. It's like, well, yeah, that's what I expect for the oldest people. The oldest people are people what? Tell me about these people who had an average age of 24.2. There's 19 people who had an average age of 24.2. And so tell me about those people. Tell me about those people. Tell me a little bit about those people. So they live off campus is one. That's this node we go through right here. Exactly. I just want you to think about somebody, like I tell you, I know someone who lives off campus and is married. Would you think they're older or younger? Just older or younger? I know someone who lives, and we could even do that. I know someone who lives off campus and is divorced. And like now they're 18. You'd be like, what? You'd be like, I mean, that's all right. Hey, whatever. You'd be shocked if I told you they're 18. Like I know someone who lives off campus and is divorced. You would expect them to be older. Like that's the mean of this group. These 19 people have an older mean age. If I tell you I know someone who lives on campus with a very high GPA, I mean, I knew someone who lived in the dorms. I'm trying to think how old he was. I think he was at least in his 30s. So I know someone who lived in the dorms and was probably like, he was like 33, which I'm like, man, that's so young now. That's so young, 33. Countdown, 9 months until Brian's 40. My 30s are almost over. 9 months till I'm 40. So with this right here, yep, he was something like that. He was close. His name was Byron. Really nice guy. So he's younger than me. He's a kid to me now. Anyone's younger. Someone's one day younger than me. I'm like, you're a kid. So it's really funny. I know. Is that person? I think there's someone who's one day older than me who. Yeah. I'm still 27. I'm 27. 27 years old. 27 years. But someone will be like, man, 27, that's old. You're 27, Brian? That's so old, dude. You're old. You're 27. You're about to be 30. I just got to forget that I'm almost. Anyways. So these people right here on campus, these 464 people had a mean age of this. So these are people with high GPAs and they live on campus. These are people who live on campus with lower GPAs. I mean, I'd love to have a 3.75, or these are people with less than a 3.75. I'd love a 3.74. But these are people with on campus less than 3.75. Not a bad GPA. Believe me, mine's way lower than that. These are people who live off campus and they are divorced, engaged, or married, and their mean age was this. These are people who live off campus because these categories right here are all the off-campus categories combined into one group. If we just talk about it easier than saying walking distance, under 10 minutes, 10 to 30-minute drive, or 30-plus minute drive, because you're either on campus or off campus. Is this making more sense of this output now, Campbell? How to read through and understand where the X variables are at? Like these are all X variables right here. And then your Y variable is going to be the mean right here. And I might talk about a quantitative or categorical tree because that's often on the test. Let's put some test-related material right here, and I'm definitely going to reference this video to be like, check this out. Make sure you know how to do this. You're welcome, Campbell. We're going to do a categorical tree, and I'm definitely going to probably be posting this as maybe its own standalone video. So let's talk about interpreting a categorical tree. Okay, let's go all the way back here, and we are going to interpret a categorical tree because I can almost promise you that you will have one of these. Exactly. So Campbell, are you ready right here? Let's talk about interpreting a categorical decision tree. So here we go. You ready? I'm going to do a cut in the video. Okay. Hey, everybody. A big topic on the test is going to be interpreting categorical decision trees. When we have a categorical decision tree, let's restart this. Cut in the video right here. Yeah. There we go. Get hair already. Okay. See, this is the way I film stuff. This is the way when I film stuff, I know it's when I film stuff, I do all these cuts. I'm like, okay, restart. I'm acting like I'm filming it to where I'm like, I get my posure ready. I'm like, okay, there we go. Time to film. Hit that film button and do this cut right here. Okay, so here we go. Here's our real filming, real time, right? You're right, real take. So decision trees are an important topic. This is not a real year. Let's not be super serious like I am in some videos. Hey everyone, so you just got to the timestamp here. Now it's time to get serious because we're going to talk about decision trees and how they might look on the test. We either would have a quantitative tree or a categorical tree, and a lot of times we put a categorical tree on the test. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to analyze a categorical decision tree. So when we do a decision tree, we always have one y variable. So let's probably choose something maybe a little bit easy to analyze right here, like whether or not someone's broken a bone. We could have taken a quantitative y, but we can choose something like breaking a bone. So this is just our one y variable. Remember, decision trees can predict categorical or quantitative y's, which means we could have just taken like high school GPA and predicted that. But we're going to predict whether or not someone has broken a bone. And what are we going to use for this? We're going to use all the x variables. But an important thing to note right here is we're using quantitative and categorical x variables, but we are not using identifiers or things that act like identifiers. Things that act like identifiers are categorical variables that have tons of levels. Like we're talking like, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Or what city were you born in? Now, these can repeat, so they're not identifiers. Of course, we could say like, my favorite ice cream flavor is Rocky Road, or Ben and Jerry's Everything But the Kitchen Sink. So they can repeat. Someone else could have that same favorite ice cream flavor as you, but they have so many levels that they often act like an identifier. All these variables here that I have chosen are quantitative or categorical, but I have not included identifiers or things that act like identifiers. So let's drop these over here. So now we're going to go ahead and we have here a quantitative tree in the background where we're predicting the mean. But our tree, which allows us to color the points because it's categorical, don't worry about that one anymore because we're going to focus on this tree, which is a categorical decision tree. So we won't see quantitative. We only see categories here. And feel free to ask questions in the chat. We only see categories here. It's still just coloring the points in the background, but you will not see categories, at least in the y variable here. Notice how there's a difference between the quantitative y, which is going to predict the mean, and we see the mean being predicted down here. But the categorical decision tree is going to try to put things into groups, hence why we can color the points. When we split the tree, it's going to find the best variable to split on, which now we see males versus females right here, where males were more likely to have broken a bone. And take a look at this. One important thing to note, and let's just do a quick drawing of this. We're just going to draw on this really briefly, and I want you to notice this. This gives us the ability to draw. This is group 1. This is group 2. This is group 1. This is group 2. It's always going to work that way from left to right, that the bottom leaves down there are going to be 1 and 2, and then your groups up top are also going to split into 1 and into 2. It might be a little hard to see through those dots. Yep, and so that's the way to see it right there, how it's splitting the tree with group 1 and group 2. And I want you to notice this right here. Let's take another screenshot of it and try to analyze what this is. Let's bring it over to Word, because if you understand it in the simple format, it'll make more sense. Over here on the left side of the tree, we have the y variable of interest. That y variable of interest is carried down through all the leaves. So the y variable of interest is being displayed in all the leaves, and it's showing us the distribution of the y variable, like how many people have broken a bone. Please note, this is how many people have broken a bone, and so when we're looking here, these are the people who have broken a bone, yes. These are the people who have broken a bone, yes. These are the people who have broken a bone, yes. Now, when we go through this right here, we can also see, let's use the blue coloring, the x variables. Here's the x variables the tree is splitting on. So the tree is dividing people right there on male versus female, and these are the x variables. So right now, if you go through this tree, you would ask somebody these questions, and you'd go down through the tree, left or right, depending on how they answer. So let's actually make our tree bigger. A lot of jump output there. Let's split the tree again. Now that we've split the tree, it asks, when did you start drinking? These people over here on the left are people who started drinking at an age of 16 or less than 16, and they did answer the question. These people started drinking at 16 or older, or they didn't answer the question, which probably means they haven't had a drink. So this question was, when did you have your first drink of alcohol? These people said, I started drinking at 16 or greater, or they did not answer the question. Let's go ahead and split the tree one more time, and then we get that right there. Let's put drinking right here. Not doing controversial topics today. Let's go drinking right here. So we go right here, and we have age of first drink. And the age of first drink right here is also going to split in such a way. I want you to notice something. These are the people breaking bones. These are the people not breaking bones right here. Let's talk about the people who are most likely to break a bone. And we can probably look at this a lot easier if we go to the leaf report. And when you get the leaf report, and it also would have made the output a lot longer if I'd used the other one. When you get the leaf report, I want you to think about how these leaves work. So looking at this leaf report right here, I want you to look at the people who are most likely to break a bone. I want you to just describe them to me in brief words. So we've got a few people in the chat. Can you describe the people? And I'll start putting the numbers on this that really help. Let's start putting our numbers right here. We've got group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. We've got the distribution of how many people have broken a bone. That's the people who have broken a bone. I'm going to highlight it in all groups. This is the distribution of the Y variable of the people who have broken the bone. And this is the count of the individuals, like how many there are. And that's relative to these counts right here. Like out of the 255, we see 169 of them have broken a bone. So these are the counts of how many people, which is the totals. And we can see how many out of the total. So what are the characteristics of people who are most likely to have broken a bone? Looking at the terminal leaves right there, and we could follow through this, but tell me about people who are most likely to have broken a bone. What characteristics would people have? This is a good time to think, write it down, see if you can follow through the tree. It's available in the leaf report at the bottom, but see if you can follow through. Oh, we'll split again right here. We can split again and make the tree even bigger. What do the people look like who are most likely to have broken a bone? The people who are most likely to have broken a bone are going to come from, let's remove some of our highlighting. The people who are most likely to have broken a bone are going to be in this group right here. There's the people who are most likely to have broken a bone with a 66% probability. And that means they are in group 1. And we're talking about this right here. Notice how the blue bar is longer for all those. 66% of males that have had their first drink alcohol. Exactly. It's males who started drinking before the age of 16. 66% of them have broken a bone. Does that make sense, Campbell, right there? Looking at this tree, if you trace down this way, let's follow the tree downward and look at the X characteristics right here. If you trace the tree downward going by the X variables, you would see that these people right here reported male. Great job. Yeah, let's throw some 50 points right here. Join class live, join office hours live, get tons of points. Mubot.
I am Mubot.
You are here to give us points. So with this, we see we have these individuals are male and they had age of first drink was less than 16. How about the people least likely to have broken a bone? Can we describe the characteristics of those least likely to have broken a bone? So look at the numbers right here, and then we'll ask a harder question. So these are test type questions. Describe the characteristics of individuals least likely to have broken a bone. So first thing you want to identify is what group is it? So as we're doing this and people are trying to solve it, the group this is going to be is group number 4. We can see that very quickly right here with the percentage, 35%. So exactly, Clarissa. Great job, Clarissa. It's group 4 is the least likely to have broken a bone. And what are their characteristics? What are the characteristics as you go down this way? So we want to go down the tree and follow the tree downward, talking about their X variables. So there's one thing that's missing right there. Remember, excuse me. We have right here X variables, and these are all X characteristics. Like every description in this box at the top is an X characteristics. There we go. Wait, let's hear here. Females who had their first drink older than or equal to 17, and also they might not have had their first drink. So we'd probably accept that. It's weird when it says the or missing thing. Females who started drinking at an age greater than 17, 17 or greater, 17 or greater, because greater than or equal to 17. Just kind of read across. Age of first drink for these individuals was greater than or equal to 17, or they did not respond, which means they probably haven't drank yet. So just think about that. Or missing, exactly. They did not respond to the question. Does this make sense with your worldview to say that women who don't drink are less likely to break bones, men who start drinking younger are more likely to break bones? Like who's on board with this? Like we're not, because look at this. There are men who started drinking younger who have not broken bones, and you could see here that there are many individuals, many. How many? Let me ask you this: how many individuals are males who started drinking younger who have not broken a bone? You're welcome, Campbell. I think this will help a lot, especially for reviewing the test. The question right now is how many males started drinking younger? How many males started drinking younger and have not broken a bone? And then we're asking a harder question after this. This is a level 4 question. I don't think it's that bad. How many males started drinking younger and have not broken a bone? Reverse that, because you're looking at, so good guess right there. So this group right here is or like let's say by younger I mean less than 16. So you're looking at how many males started drinking older and have not broken a bone. So this group right here is the males who had an age of first drink less than 16, so they started drinking younger. Does that make sense? 86. Exactly. Great job right there, Campbell. So just make sure to like trade. No, this is the practice. This is the practice. Like, let's throw another 20 points. I appreciate having someone here to like bounce the questions off of, because this is the practice. Like we're literally writing test questions right here. Great job, Clarissa. These are practice test questions right now. Here's the harder one. How many males have broken a bone? How many males have broken a bone? This is where people get stuck. I've had people walk up to me on the test and say, Brian, you can't answer this. I say, yes, we can. How many males have broken a bone? I'm going to draw a hint on here. You ready? Here's the hint I'm going to draw for like helping solving it. Here's the hint I'm going to draw. This is the hint I'm drawing to help out. I want you to think about how this hint relates. Clarissa, great job. And I think, oh my gosh, just that's complete another. Yeah, I can't trick you. I can't trick you. No, I think it's 467. Is that correct? No, you can do mental math. As far as I can tell, that is correct. Everyone can double check, but here, I'll double check too. It's just adding together those two numbers. I'll show it here visually here in a moment. But yeah, you can do mental math because you just did the mental math. This number are these two added together because we're adding together groups 1 and 2. So these are some of the harder questions I usually see students get tripped up on when we ask things like how many males have broken a bone. It's like, wait a minute, I don't have this output. But can you see what we could do if we do have the output on the tree is we can just take and we can prune the tree. So we can take and prune the tree. Hair's just going crazy. We can prune the tree below here, and you can see you are correct at 467. But you did ask, what happens if I split the tree more? And let's see. We get views on social issues, and then we get things like how much you cheat. Every one of these people has broken a bone. Is that the blue category is broken a bone. So and Jump does weird calculations up here. Don't worry, we use them. But yes, I've noticed that, and I really need to contact Jump and say, what are you doing with that? We go by those numbers. So don't worry, but every single person in this group has broken a bone. I think I really want to contact Jump and just say, what's going on with those? Because that's just so weird to me. Jump, we need to talk. We need to talk, Jump, about what's going on with your numbers. But does this make sense, what's going on here, Campbell and Clarissa? We're just letting the tree split. And we can choose split specifically. It's called forcing a split. So let's go high school GPA. I usually don't choose to do that. Now the people most likely to have broken a bone are going to be still the males who started drinking younger. The least likely to have broken a bone are the males who started drinking older and are liberal. So you just go across here when you read it. Does it make sense right now? Let's draw on this again, what the groups are. Usually we don't try to do too big of trees, but when you take this output right here, the best thing I like to do, especially if we have printed tests, which, we'll start doing printed tests again soon, who knows when, is you take the terminal leaves, the end nodes. So you go here to the end nodes, the very end of it, and you go 1, 2, 3, there's a 3, 4, 5, and then you go right here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if Elon Musk has like a YouTube channel, but I just feel like all of a sudden we're gonna see like a name with a check mark appear in the chat, and it's gonna be like Elon Musk, and he's be like, "I have appeared, Brian." And I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I'll put you on a Zoom call. He would need a check mark. If there's an Elon Musk that appears in chat, I'd be like, haha, funny. Even if I got a call from someone, they're like, this is Elon Musk, I'd be like, funny. I know, right? If someone who actually has a much bigger channel than we do, they have check marks next to their name. That way someone can't create like a spoof channel. Does that make sense? Exactly. Yep. All the bottom leaves are your groups. Perfect answer, Campbell, right there as we start to veer off topic. Brian always veers us off topic. That's my fault. All the bottom leaves are the group. Does that make sense, Campbell, right here? That these bottom leaves right here, if you go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what's also interesting, let's go grab the output from it. If you go back up here to the top, it's the same output with the group orders. So you can do the same on the top. So this, I beg my students, we have like test prep days in person, and I'm like, do this, write on it, do this, show which groups are which. So if you look here at the top of it, looking at the top, let's zoom in on it. Enhance. And you would go here, this is group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. Which group, group 5, which group has the most people in it, Campbell? Which group from all of our splits has the most people in it? Like what is the largest group? So we can see it right here, and then we'll confirm it by looking at the output. The bottom will always be the groups. Exactly right, Campbell. And so which one has the most people? Group 5. So if you go down here to the bottom, group 5 has 981, and you can see the smaller groups have like, the two smallest groups are groups 3 and group 4. So group 3 and group 4 are the two smaller ones, and you can see that down here with 58 individuals and 75. If you actually count up all the dots, you'd count 58 dots right here. No, you got it right. You got 100% right. And then you can see the counts of the individuals down here. Is this making more sense how to connect the output of group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5? This is the distribution of the Y variable. It looks like group 1 and group 4 are most likely to have broken a bone. Here's group 1 and group 4 with the probabilities. Here's group 1 and group 4 with how many broke a bone. With 31 did not break a bone, 44 did. And Jump's giving us the probabilities of 41 and 58. Is this making sense, Campbell, how to read this output? I'm hoping this standalone video will I might cut this out, but I hope this video helps with connecting the output, understanding the leaf table. The leaf table makes sense now. Awesome. And then one last thing we have to mention before we end this part of the video is we also have the split history. So the split history gives us the history of R squared. I am so blind. The split history gives us the history of R squared, and R squared is actually kind of pretty bad. That's not a good R squared. The reason mine looks so crazy is because I did a whole bunch of different types of splits. I went different ways with it. So let's go to a decision tree where I haven't done some craziness. Maybe I did over here. The split history is always the same. It's always going to give you R squared. And so you can see the increase to R squared after every split. So the split history is just going to give you the increase to R squared after every split. It should start at 0. I wish it put that right there. We can go right here to split again on this tree. This is a different tree, but you can see R squared is increasing after every split. So R squared will always increase because what do the X variables do? The X variables like to explain. Which means as many times as you split, it's R squared increase. Yeah, exactly. R squared is always going to increase, and we could close off the leaf report because this is just getting ridiculous. But the R squared is always going to increase with more splits because X's explain variation, and we're including more X's, which means more variation is explained. And this is a different tree, but right now my tree explains 26.2% of the variation in someone's age is explained by the variables in the tree. And we can see it over here on the decision tree notes, the percent of variation in Y explained by the variables in the tree. So blank percent of the variation in Y is explained by the variables in the tree. Some big important stuff right here as we try to understand how the tree works and definitely review, but R squared will always go up, but we don't want to just continue and continuously split it because we're going to get down to variables that just like your views on Gangnam Style just don't make sense. It's more important your views on Blackpink music than Gangnam Style. I make jokes and who knows? So that's got it. Okay, any questions right now? What are people thinking? R squared, when you're done splitting, is the percent of variation in the Y. The percent of variation in Y we have explained by the variables in the tree. So I want to think about this for a moment. Really great question. So R squared is the percent of variation in Y explained by the tree. So let's hop back to the main screen. We were doing a decision tree so this is an advanced topic, but I want to do a tree right here, and I want to explain people's scores on the exam And we're going to use these variables right here. We're going to explain people's scores on the exam. Sure. And my tree right now explains what? Like, we're trying to explain people's scores on the exam. So it's explaining people's scores on the exams. What do you notice right here? What would you say? Blank blank percent of what? How would you use this right here? Because here's the y variable. We're trying to explain score on the exam. Here's the decision tree. And then here's the notes. So let me go back to the note slide with it. How would this work when we talk about this tree right here? And so how would this tree work? Blank percent of the variation y is explained by the variables in the tree. And how would this tree work right here with an r squared of 22.3? How would this tree right here work with an r squared of 22.3? Close. 22.3% of the variation in people's scores is explained by the variables in the tree. So we're trying, does this make sense that we're trying to understand? No, Campbell, 20 points again. Do not worry. We're here to, and I like that I'm just giving points because I want people answering the questions. It's boring when there's no answers. It's like, I want the answers. Do not worry. This is the practice. This is the practice right now where we get everything perfect. So, or near perfect. So 22.3% of the variation in, and then we put in the y variable. So 22.3% of the variation in y. So 22.3% of the variation in somebody's score. So I've got these underlined, so we just plug in 22.3% of the variation in somebody's score, because that's the y variable, is, see right there, the y variable right next to it right there, is explained by the variables in the tree. So I want us to think about how much better, this is an advanced method, let's think about how much better this is doing. How much better is what Brian, I just did the same thing. How much better is what Brian is doing? Boosted. Here we go. 500 learning rate. Let's go that learning rate. 5,000. Why not? Let's overfit. Valid. Was there not the valid? Oh, I'll use that later. It's going to take a moment right here. Oh, nice job. 23% of the variation of what you scored is explained by the variables in the tree. Exactly. This is probably overfit. Stat people watching, you're screaming overfit. I know, I'm screaming it too. Okay, let's just look at it. Gosh, that is insane. I know it's probably overfit, stat people. We're not going to talk about overfit right now. I know it's probably overfit, some stat person. Connor, if you're still watching, I just made an overfit model, which means we did too good. Like, what do you mean too good? Our model probably doesn't work on new data. You know, I am very interested. So this model right here explains 95% of the variation. Does that make sense, Campbell, right here, why this model's better? It explains 95% of the variation in your test scores. Does that make sense, Campbell? My model now explains 95.4% of the variation in someone's test score. So this is a totally different type of model. It's beyond our class, but 95.4. So I'll write in the chat to see if it makes sense. So 95.4% of the variation in someone's test score is explained by Brian's advanced statistical model. So does that make sense? 95.4% of the variation in someone's test score, because that's what we're trying to understand, is explained by Brian's advanced statistical model. That thing right there, that model that makes predictions, it could actually, like, we can go right here. So all we have to do is go to this red arrow, and we can go to save predicteds, and it's going to do a great job. Save columns, save predicteds. It just predicted people's test scores, and these are the predictions, and the predictions explain pretty much tons of the variation. Oh my gosh, Campbell, you might be the only one watching. I'm throwing 50 points. Yes, and that's even better because you said the boosted trees, which is the boosted trees model. I'm not even joking. If you're in 474, I would say that explanation is great. Like, if let's say, because that's the class we teach this in, you're like, if you said that 94% of the variation in someone's test score is explained by the variables in the boosted trees, technically it's trees, it's multiple trees. That's the only thing I'd say. I'd say, well, actually, no, it's a boosted tree. No, you are right. It's just a boosted tree is made from trees. So actually, I'd say, actually, you are right. Now that I think it over, it is a boosted tree, and a boosted tree is made from trees. So you'd have me being like, yeah, that's right. That's excellent. That's great. So because we can nitpick things like and be like, how would we say this precisely? And it's like, well, we've communicated everything. We're just trying to understand people's test scores, and we're using this model right here, and it's a boosted tree model. So what we're actually going to do, okay, we're actually doing the real thing right now. Okay, so now we're doing it the right way. Well, let's get serious here. If I crash my computer, I'm sorry. Okay. If I crash my computer, I am sorry. Let's find out what happens. Oh, you can do this? This is a... No. Nah, we'll come back. We'll see what this does. Really? That quick? Ooh, yeah, we were overfitting. That's really sad. This really shows we were overfitting our model. It's kind of what I thought. I thought we were overfitting. We're only getting 35%. Let me switch this. We still have the validation portion, right? Let me look to see if we still have the validation portion. Yeah, we still have the validation portion. Okay. Slow learning rate. Very slow. 4. Let's try a fast learning rate. Oh, you can use a tuning design table? What? No, I don't want to really stopping. Now it's taking its time. That's what I thought. Had to think. Oh. Why would you select this model with a negative r squared? Why would you select that model? Do you... Brian's mad. Why would you select that model? It's a horrible model. It's a negative r squared. Did you know r squared could go negative? Now you're like, Brian, okay, so stat to 1, pretend you didn't see that. You're like, r squared's between 0 and 1. It's the percent of variation y explained by the variation x. In 320, we actually go into greater detail. Hannah, are you in 320? We talk about, so it is 70, it is, but then we have what's called a holdout, or is doing a holdout or it's doing a validation portion. So when it attempted to use our model on new data, it completely and utterly failed on new data. So I really want to get a model that works on the data it was made from and new data. Oh, you have to like go create a design table? Ugh, I don't know how to do that. I've never done that in... This is our best model right now that works on new data. Well, let's save the predicteds from this. I want to get much higher R squareds. My models were overfit. And here's the best model we have that actually works. Seaver would be proud of me. So we're just kind of ending class here with some... Brian is starting to shut off. Or your brain is starting to shut off? Or yeah, my brain's starting to shut off too. I think so. We're kind of near the end of office hours. So I'm just like, let's take a look at this right here. I'm sorry. We got 7 minutes left. I'm like going, oh, you see, look at all these predictions. And so we could see how far off these predictions are. Here's the person who was predicted to make the lowest grade. And here's the people who are predicted to make another low grade. And we could look at the distribution of these individuals. And we're seeing a lot of times that, oh, they don't attend, look, never attend SI. And although, never. Oh, we just have so few people who say always attend SI. Whoa. Do you take notes while watching class? This is our best model with replication. Should have done this to begin with. This is our best model this is insane. Yeah, it will definitely, we could write, let's do 3 true falses to end, but take a look at this, Campbell. Campbell, I sorted the grades people are predicted to make. So let me explain this right here, because you'll see the actionable decision from this. These are the grades people were predicted to make. Does that make sense? And I sorted it from highest and lowest. Are you following me here? These are predicted grades I made using the model, and I sorted them from highest to lowest. Does that make perfect sense right there? These are the predicted grades people were predicted to make, and I sorted them from highest to lowest. So these are the people who are predicted to make the highest. That makes perfect sense. We're on board on that. So then with this sorted, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at if they take notes. Do you take notes while watching class? And what do you see about the highest people? These are all the people who are the highest grades. And also, look at this. The people who were predicted to make the highest grades by this new model, which actually is the best replication, all these people right here, these are all the people with the predicted highest grades. All these people always take notes. And all these people, every one of them says they're mostly attentive or very attentive. If we scroll down to the bottom right here, what do we see at the very bottom right here? Look at all the sometimes, nevers, somewhat. You see a bunch of somewhat distracteds right here. So you're seeing all these, there's a bunch of somewhat distracteds in here peppered throughout and very distracted, but you don't see many alwayses. The always people always taking notes are way more fewer and far between. Here's the people who always take notes in the bottom group. And here at the highest grades, here's the people who are always taking notes. These are the highest predicted grades. And if we look at their actual grades, look at this. Let's take a quick subset of these highest people. These are the people. Let's go to table. This will be the last thing. We'll do some true falses here. So we're going to go to table subset. We can choose the selected rows. Just some hacks right there. And let's look at just the grades of the highest people predicted. The grades of the highest predicted people was the following. They had a 92 predicted average. So if we were to look at these individuals and follow the formula they did, these were the people who were predicted at the highest grades, and they had a 93 average or 92 average with a standard deviation of 5. And look at that distribution. They went all the way from 82 to 100. And these are people always taking notes, pretty attentive during class. And I just want to see if they chat. Do they chat during class? Look at this. Often and sometimes. A lot of often, a lot of sometimes. If you go down here to the very bottom for do you chat during class, we're probably going to see a different distribution. More nevers. There's more nevers. But we do see this. And look at their My Pearson grades. Every one of them's getting A's on My Pearson. Look at, they've completed all the visualizations. And there you go. Do you do speed runs? Interesting distribution right there. Yeah. So I think this is very interesting. Awesome. Let's do, how about 3 true? Oh, that's all right, Campbell. No, and that's the thing is, like, it doesn't mean you will ace it. But Campbell, you got this. How about we do some true falses? You ready? Which chapter? Let's do 5 true falses. Which chapters would you like true falses done? That's all right. There's variation. Sometimes you just have a bad test. Give me chapters you want true falses on. I'm going to try to even I'm going to go through my brain and be like, can I think of questions we've already written? So this might be really helpful. Let's try to think of true false questions. You choose a chapter we've done and I'll write true false questions. Here I'll start. True/false. I'm going to write 5 of these. And we'll cover all 5. If you want any chapters, just tell me. Do all these right here. We'll see how we do. What else have we done? Randomness. I hate this one. I hope. I might just delete that if I see that existing. I'm mentioning it because I hate it. One more. Okay. First one right here. First question. True or false? Response bias is when someone doesn't respond to a question who might differ than those who don't respond, who do respond. Is this response bias? Is this response bias? True or false? Don't worry if you get it right or wrong. Don't worry if you get it right or wrong. Just take a shot at it. We'll see how you do. These are perfectly viable questions. One of them I hate. I purposely put it on here because if it is on there, I'll just give it the answer because I hate it. I've always hated that question because I disagree theoretically with it. I'm going to see if it's on there, and I might talk to Terry and be like, let's remove that. So the first question right here, the very first one. The very first one, what do you think? Be careful, careful. Good try right there. Let's give 20 points. It's going to be false. It's going to be false. Why is it false? What kind of bias is this? This one's going to be false. Don't worry. I tried to put some hard ones on here. I think there's some easy and hard ones, but this one's going to be false, and why? So this isn't this isn't response bias. Sorry, I'm getting choked up here. This isn't response bias. Response bias is when the question wording or people answer in an untruthful way. So to have response bias, there has to be a response. That's a good note to take. To have response bias, someone has to respond. Does that make sense? If there's a bias in a response, people have to respond. So like if we say things like, do you think it's fair that an 18-year-old can get married but can't drink? And then do you think we should lower the drinking age? So what kind of bias is this when people don't respond? It's non-response. Nice job right there, Campbell. Exactly. It's non-response. Mubot, you gonna add those points? Mubot, you still awake? Did we break YouTube? So this is non-response bias. This is non-response bias. This is non-response bias. This is non-response. Decision trees can handle a quantitative Y or categorical or quantitative Y. True or false? Decision trees can handle a categorical or quantitative Y variable. Decision trees can handle a categorical or quantitative Y variable. True or false? Very, 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 very what? Decision trees can handle like very true. 100%. 100%. Decision trees they don't take identifiers or things that act like identifiers, like categorical variables with too many levels, like favorite ice cream flavor. Decision trees can handle categorical and quantitative X variables. True or false to this next one? True or false to this next one? I made such a horrible true false. People will be like, going by the law of averages, you're like, there's gotta be. So take advice on that if you're listening in on this. Like, Brian just gave away all the answers. I'm sorry. I just don't want you to think, well, he would probably do this. Statisticians. What? We're not plural? I don't know. I'm a business analyst. My dad. That is true. Randomness is a tool that statistician uses. Sure, have it your way. Statistician uses. Randomness is a tool statistician use. There, take that. That is very true also. Randomness is a tool we use to do like random samples or simulations. Brian hates this question. It's appeared. I don't want it to appear. If we have this question, I'm going to talk to Terry and be like, I don't know about that one. I don't know. It's in the notes. This is in the notes. It's like in the notes. Here, do I have the randomness notes up? I don't have randomness up. Yeah, it's true. If it's on there, it's true. But it's, I don't know. I say, I'll take the challenge. I'll try to simulate an event. I mean, things are just getting like, as time progresses, we can simulate things better. So I'd say, this is when Elon Musk hops in the chat and he's like, that is false, Brian. I'm like, whoa, it's Elon Musk. Whoa. Oh my God. The sample frame is all people or things we have access to sample. All models are wrong. All simulations are wrong. I don't care. 50 points, HGT. All simulations are wrong, but some are useful. Mubot, did you give the points before? Did I make a typo in it? Maybe Mubot's tired of giving out points. Oh, I closed Mubot. Let's give 100 points. I'm breaking the world. When did I close down Mubot? Wake up, Mubot. He's waking up. I have to wake up Mubot all the time. That is Mubot right there. I'm going to throw 100 points to everyone's way because I was like, Mubot, not awake. My fault. Let's throw 100 points. It's like, why is Mubot not giving points? When did I close Mubot? Mubot crash? Mubot, you awake now? Sorry, Mubot, didn't mean to turn you off. The sample frame, I think people are saying true to this. This is true. The sample frame is all people or things we have access to sample. And then the population is all individuals we collect data on. The population is all individuals we collect data on. True or false? The population is all individuals we collect data on. True or false for this last one? The population is all individuals we collect data on. This is the way we do the true false. Like, we don't mean to throw people for a loop, but be careful. I was like, oh no, I made everyone think they're all going to be true. This one is false. This one is false. What is the something we collect data on? Which you could say, well, technically, Brian, if we do a census, the population is all individuals we collect data on. If we do a census, then it's all individuals we collect data on. The sample, exactly. The sample is all individuals we collect data on. The population would be defined how? How do we define the population? Define the population. This is the sample right here. So that's why this one's wrong. This is the sample. We'll put it in red so people know. Red's too annoying. I don't like red. The population is what? What is the population? Great work, everybody. This is good practice. True false are oftentimes a lot of definition of group of individual. Yes, great job. Is the group or individuals we want to understand. We are interested in them. Sometimes why it's called the population of interest, the group of data points we are trying to learn about. Exactly. The individuals or items we want to understand. The population is the group of individuals we want to understand. We're interested in them. This is why it is sometimes called the population of interest. And that's also why you get, this is also why we get the population parameter of interest. So the parameter of interest, the population of interest, the population parameter of interest. The only keywords to know right here are population. That's a keyword. And parameter is another keyword. They're in a different color right here. But parameter is whatever we want to understand. And then the sample statistic is our estimate. So the sample is the group again. Here, we'll do this coloring. The sample is the group. Wrong color. The sample is going to be the group. And then the population, I do not know how to get out of this. There we go. So for task 3, how do you do for a log base 10? Good question right there. Here, we'll hop over that. But does this, and HTT, thank you so much. And let's do that here. So the log base 10, I'll show how to take the log base 10 variable. Does this make sense that the population parameters, the population is the group we want to understand. The parameter is the variable for that population we want to understand. The sample is what we collect data on. Individuals are things we have data on. And the statistic is our estimate taken from the sample to estimate the parameter, which is the truth for the population. Real quick example on this. I go out and I talk to 200 people. That's going to be my sample right here. I ask them, do they like Taco Bell? 180 of them love Taco Bell because Taco Bell is awesome. That makes my sample proportion right here p hat. This is going to be the sample proportion, and I'm trying to estimate the true parameter. This is actually a statistic that came from a sample, so let me make that more clear. This right here is a statistic that came from a sample. So this p hat right here is a statistic that came from a sample, trying to estimate the truth for a population, and the truth for the population is the parameter. The parameter is the true proportion of people who like Taco Bell. And so with that, and I will point out what's really awesome is if you go over to R, and I'll show you how to take a log base 10, all you have to do here is prop test. And so to do this, you can just go here to sample size or 180 out of 200, and there is the proportion, the interval right here. I am 95% confident the true proportion of people who like Taco Bell is contained in the interval 84.77 to 93.6, and that's why R is awesome. So that wouldn't be the true proportion. That would be the successes in our sample. So just so you can see the notation on this, don't worry, you don't need to know this. But if you look at this right here, do you see where it says X? X is, and you will see this notation in 201. You won't use R for this. You won't use R. But that notation right there where it says X, that is the successes in a sample, and N is this number of samples. And then P is the true proportion, and they're hypothesizing. This is a hypothesized true proportion right here, but P is the true proportion, and this is the amount we are hypothesizing it to be. Do not worry, you do not need to know all this coding, but you would need to know for our class that X is the number of successes when we do this sort of coding, or not coding, when we do this sort of question on chapter 15. X is the number of successes, N is the sample size, and then P is the true proportion. And we were just seeing something very similar to this a half second ago over here when we were looking at this, and we saw P is the true, because we're interested in the true proportion of people who like Taco Bell. And in our sample, we saw 90% of them like Taco Bell. So HGT, great question right there about how to take the log 10. To take the log 10, do I have my sample right now? I do. What? I don't know where, my sample's not in here anymore. Let me go to survey 10. Let's go to MT cars. There we go. MT cars is always here. So does this make sense right here? This is how you take the log 10, and you can just do here y transformed. Whatever you want to call it. Does that make sense right here? I'm taking the log 10 of these variables. I'm just pretending I have variables I'm interested in, and this is how you would take the log 10 of these variables. Does this make sense right here? So great question right there, Campbell. We actually don't know the true proportion. We estimate it to be, oh, wrong thing. We estimate it to be 90%, but here it is, 95% confidence interval for the true proportion. So I'm saying, and we'll do this later in our class, we'll say like, I am 95% confident that the true proportion of people who like Taco Bell is contained in the interval 84.77 to 93.6. So we'll make a confidence interval using that right there. Does that make sense, Campbell? This is the interval to estimate the truth from our sample. So this is the sample estimate. It says P right there, but it's saying this is trying to estimate P. The sample estimates P to be 90%. So it's a little confusing. Exactly. We haven't done this yet. So don't worry. This is, if you're hearing this now, hopefully the second time you hear it, you'll be like, oh, like the sample estimates the truth, hence why we call it inferential statistics. So later on, we're going to get a sample that will estimate the truth for the truth. So from our sample, we saw 90% of people like Taco Bell. But if we're going to talk for the whole population, we're 95% confident the true proportion of people who like Taco Bell is somewhere between about 85 to 94. If I'm reporting it to people, I might just say about 85 to 94. I mean, I'll put in the report the decimal places. But if I'm just talking in casual conversation, I'd say, yeah, it's probably between about 85 to 94 from what we estimated. We have more fine or exact figures in the report showing all the mathematics to let you see the calculations that were done. But I'd say it's about 85, 94-ish. So, because, I don't know, if you say 84.777 to 93.634, if you're like, can you just round this for me? It'll make more sense in my head when I hear 85 and 94. But then in the report, I'm going to include all the numbers. So you're welcome, Campbell. Thank you. How's the, tell me this, Campbell, real quick. I'll put on some chill music. Compared to your other TikToks, how's that one doing? I just have to know. I'm all about, I'm a metrics type person. I'm a data person. Is that one doing better, worse, or about the same? That's how my TikToks do. Are there any, can people comment on TikTok? Are people like, what the heck's this guy doing? I haven't done TikTok yet. I don't understand. Everyone's like, Brian, you gotta do TikToks. You gotta do them. Hop on TikTok. Start putting some TikToks up. Let's check how are the metrics on that TikTok. If my first TikTok got like 10 likes, I'd be like, yeah. Let's see. 35, 20, and 8. I have no idea how good that is. And of course, we'll see what Campbell says. We don't want to head off. And thank you, everyone. Great day today. Lots of work. Lots of amazing questions. Lots of good practice. That's awesome. Glad to hear that. Thank you for posting that. We're just here to have some fun. Everyone remember the trip to Elon Musk's factory. Glad to hear it's doing well. Put it out there in the group me. Make it happen. YouTube Shorts? I haven't even seen that. 123 views, 35 likes, and 200 comments. 200 comments? Where are the comments at on TikTok? What are the comments saying? How do I view comments? Do I have to sign up for TikTok to see comments? How do I look at comments? How do I do that, Campbell? Do I have to like... How do I look at comments? Log in to see comments. Looks like I have to make a TikTok. Tagging Elon? Oh, God. Remember about that positivity. I think, let me see right here. Yeah, I think I have to make an account. Well, looks like I'm making an account. Looks like Brian's making an account to see what's being said. Is just a bunch of people tagging him? That's too funny. Brian needs a TikTok. We'll end right here on some chill music. Is it? Yeah, TikToks stay up. So I'll have to check that out. Well, thank you everyone for all the positivity, all the fun. You know, once again, if Elon Musk makes this happen, then we'll find out. We'll just see what happens. Maybe he's like looking at this channel right now. He's like, How can I break the YouTube algorithm, HGT? How can I do that? How do we break the YouTube algorithm? We just put up a video. Elon Musk, if you're watching this, we just did an interview. He's not watching this. End of office hours fun. We just did an interview with our MSBA candidates. Really great interview. Great hearing from them. And so putting that interview in the chat right there. Look at, I have no idea what that is. I'll have to take a look at what it is. I have no idea what that is. We're just here to have some fun and learn statistics. That's what we do. Data-driven decisions. What's the subject for our email? You supposed to be, I forgot. Oh, it's stat. Here, I'll put in the thing. Stat 201 dash initials dash title here. That helps me out a lot. That lets me respond very quickly. Usually about halfway through the semester, I stop telling people to use it because I will check this out. Let me see right here.
How would you?
How to break the YouTube algorithm. Interesting. Oh, they have 2.12 million views, and this has got some views. I'll check that out. I will check this out. With that, everybody, I'm going to head off. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Bye. That's correct email title.